What up, guys? In this video I want to talk about something that I think is very important, and that's this topic of like what is more important, confidence or having emotional intelligence. And I think a lot of the kind of YouTube community, or you guys who give dating advice, they talk about being alpha and this and that, like being confident. But personally, I actually think that emotional intelligence is actually more important. Um, and the reason, and it's not just emotional intelligence, but we'll start out by talking about that. I think that emotional intelligence is more important than being alpha, because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of your social influence is actually based off of your emotional intelligence. If people don't perceive you as emotionally intelligent, they won't trust you, and doesn't really matter at that point how confident you are. You can still be confident, but you're gonna lack a lot of social influence. People aren't gonna want to be influenced by you unless they trust you first in your emotional intelligence. So this is, oftentimes if you watch, even in a group of people, there can be somebody who's not even that alpha or whatever, and or you see some guy who has like a pretty girlfriend, he's not even that alpha at all, but they're very emotionally intelligent, and this keeps up their ability to keep influencing socially. Because, like, I don't know, you got to think about it. It's like being alpha and all that stuff is like, it's kind of like a extra, it's like a decoration, it's like the cherry on top. But your actual base foundation has to be built in your emotional intelligence, being able to understand, read the room, to be able to follow directions, and understand where people are going with what they're saying, and all those various things. I think sometimes us guys, maybe if we get turned down by a woman, we think we weren't confident enough, something like that. So I think sometimes we can get caught in this kind of trap, like become more alpha, become more confident. But in reality, maybe we were just, we missed a couple cues, or we're just slightly off in our understanding and flow of conversation and things like that. And it really has nothing to do with confidence, so, or being alpha. So sometimes you don't want to get stuck in that trap. And I think that, like, if sometimes it's easier to just try to be alpha, because it seems a little bit more self-explanatory. Just be strong, and just try to act like you know what you're doing. It's easier to fake, so I think that's why sometimes we can get caught in that. But it's better if that every day we're working on our communication skills. Like I like to watch this YouTuber, How Communication Works. I'll link his video in the description. One of his recent videos that I really like he'll give actual social skills tips. And I think there's other elements to it. It's not just emotional intelligence, but sometimes it can be, for example, you act too goofy. Like, if you act goofy all the time, it can lead people to not taking you serious. And you got to understand, like, the risk, and like balancing everything. Like, it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to act goofy or be like the class clown, some people can probably balance it well. But it really all depends. Like, I mean, it's up to you, and you got to learn how to balance that and learn to be serious also. Another part of it, I think, is if you're like an out of the box thinker. Like, a lot of people, who are more out of the box thinkers, like think differently than others. You're kind of more of an innovator, and people won't understand us or understand our train of thought. I'm more like that, and in that sense, you can lose social influence if people don't understand you. It's like all the great scientists and stuff of the time. People just thought they're crazy, so they lose social influence. And that's another thing that you have to learn to balance, like how far do you want to explain your ideas, and like how much creative novel ideas do you want to speak in front of other people before they think, I can't understand this person, you know? And I think it really all depends, because like some people, you know, can really say anything and they can defend it, and they can come off as still keeping their social influence, and I feel like that's a gift. If you're like neurodivergent or like on the spectrum or something like that, you're gonna lose some social influence, I think, just based off of little micro things, like your tone being different, your body language being different, you know, the look in your eyes and your the way you give eye contact and how you react is gonna be different. Like, you might be surprised more easier, which might make people think, why is this guy like surprised, like after you said something that seems obvious to other people. In that sense, you can lose social influence also. But I'm not telling anybody to change. I'm just trying to say, like, be mindful of like the factors that you're dealing with, you know? Because like, I think that if a guy is over like a really more sweeter, like nice type of guy, I don't necessarily think it's that bad, you know. I think it can all depend. Like, if you're very emotionally intelligent, like that can be your strength. Those types of dudes don't even need to be like super alpha, especially if they have a nice, like, sensitive way of dressing. Like, you see these K-pop idols, you know, these male K-pop idols who dress really well and are not very alpha, but lots of girls like them because they at least show their strength. They're good at what they do. They're good at dressing in a sensitive, more feminine style. They're good at being emotionally intelligent, so that becomes their strength. So yeah, because I think being alpha is just like being alpha. If you don't have the emotional intelligence, it's just random, you know. You're being strong and dominant, but you don't really have the foundation to back you up, which is actually to just be good at being a social human being. But yeah, I'm gonna link that video on little social skills in my description. And I do want to make a video on how to better our social skills. Like, I'm working on it too, all the time, every day. And is like, socializing, I say, doesn't exactly come natural to me. I'm just quite observant and hungry to learn, so I'm gonna share with you like what I'm doing, you know. So all right, peace out. I hope this is interesting. Drop a comment.